Ambassador Yuna Lee walked through the grand halls of the Galactic Council station. The ceiling stretched high above her head, covered in lights that looked like stars. Alien beings from across the galaxy moved around her. Some had 4 arms, others had skin like rocks, and a few floated in the air without touching the ground. Yuna felt small among them. She was just a human woman in a simple blue uniform. Her black hair was tied back neatly, and she carried a data pad with Earth's information. The other beings barely looked at her as she passed. The council meeting room was massive. Hundreds of seats filled the space, each one designed for different alien bodies. Yuna found her seat in the far back corner. It was the smallest seat in the room. That told her everything about how the galaxy saw Earth. "The meeting will now begin," announced Speaker Zeth. He was a tall being with purple skin and 6 eyes. His voice echoed through the room. "Today we discuss the human problem." Yuna's heart sank. They called it the human problem. Not human progress or human achievements, just a problem to solve. Commander Crix stood up first. He was from a warrior race that looked like giant lizards covered in metal armor. "The humans are too weak to survive alone," he said. His voice was deep and rough. "They have no natural weapons, no thick skin, no special powers. They die if they get too hot or too cold." Other council members nodded. A floating jellyfish-like being spoke next. "Their technology is basic. They only learned to travel between stars 50 years ago. Most races do this after just 10 years of development. Their military is small," added another alien that looked like a walking tree. "They have maybe 100 ships. We have thousands. They cannot protect themselves." Yuna stood up. Her legs felt shaky, but she kept her voice steady. "Earth has been peaceful for 3 generations. We do not need large armies because we do not start wars." The room filled with strange sounds. Some aliens were laughing. Others made clicking noises that meant they thought she was being foolish. Speaker Zeth raised one of his 4 hands. "Ambassador Lee, your people are not built for this galaxy. Perhaps it would be better if we moved all humans to a safe planet, somewhere far from danger." "You mean a prison," Yuna said. "A protected reserve," Zeth corrected. "For your own good." Before Yuna could respond, alarms started ringing throughout the station. Red lights flashed everywhere. The sounds were so loud that some aliens covered their ears or whatever they used to hear. A young alien ran into the room. He was breathing hard, and his green skin was pale with fear. "Speaker Zeth, the Devourers have returned." The room went completely silent. Yuna had heard stories about the Devourers, but she thought they were just old legends. They were supposed to be monsters from dark space that ate entire worlds. "That is impossible," Speaker Zeth said. His 6 eyes were wide with shock. "The Devourers were destroyed 1,000 years ago." "No, sir," the messenger said. "They have already consumed 3 star systems in the Outer Rim. The Valak's defense fleet tried to stop them. All ships were destroyed. No survivors." Council members started talking all at once. Their voices mixed together in a chaos of fear and panic. The Valaks were known as the strongest fighters in the galaxy. If they could not stop the Devourers, who could? More reports came in over the next hour. The Devourers were not just back. They were hungrier than ever. They moved through space like a black wave, eating everything in their path. Stars, planets, space stations, ships. Nothing survived. "We need every ship, Commander," Crix announced. "Every warrior, every weapon." "The human fleet," someone called out. "They must join the fight." Yuna felt her stomach drop. A few minutes ago, these beings wanted to lock humans away for being too weak. Now they wanted to send human soldiers to die fighting monsters. "Our ships are not designed for this kind of war," Yuna said carefully. "Then they will serve as scouts," Speaker Zeth decided. "Human ships are small and fast. They can watch for Devourers and warn our main fleets." Yuna knew what that really meant. Human ships would be the first to die. They would be used as early warning systems, sacrificing their lives to give bigger, stronger alien fleets a few extra minutes to prepare. How long do we have? She asked. The Devourers move quickly, the messenger replied. They will reach the core systems in 2 weeks, maybe less. Speaker Zeth stood up. His massive form cast a shadow over the entire room. All fleets will gather at the border. Every species must contribute ships and soldiers. The humans will deploy immediately to the front lines. Una wanted to argue, but she knew it was pointless. The decision was already made. Earth would send its small fleet to face an enemy that had just destroyed the galaxy's strongest warriors. As the meeting ended and aliens rushed out to prepare their defenses, Una remained in her seat. She thought about the families back on Earth, the children playing in parks, the farmers growing food, the scientists studying stars. None of them knew that their peaceful world was about to be thrown into the galaxy's greatest war. Dr. Jiho Park was working late in his laboratory when the ground started shaking. Coffee spilled across his desk as the building moved back and forth. At first he thought it was an earthquake, but the shaking was too regular, too rhythmic. That's not natural, he said to himself. Jiho grabbed his equipment and ran outside. Above him, Earth's small military fleet was leaving the planet. The ships looked tiny against the dark sky, like silver dots moving toward the stars. Everyone knew where they were going. The news had been full of reports about the Devourer threat and humanity's call to join the Galactic War. But Jiho was more interested in what was happening below ground. His instruments were going crazy. They showed massive energy readings coming from deep under the Earth's surface. The signals were stronger than anything he had ever seen. This can't be right, he muttered, checking his equipment again. According to his readings, there were enormous structures buried miles underground, structures that were producing incredible amounts of power. Jiho called his assistant, Mina Song. Mina, are you getting these readings too? Yes, Dr. Park. Her voice came through his radio. The whole network is picking up the same signals. It's like something is waking up down there. The shaking continued for 3 days. Around the world, other scientists reported the same thing. Strange energy signals were coming from underground locations on every continent. Old mountains were humming with power. Ocean floors were glowing with lights that had never been there before. On the 4th day, Jiho made a decision that would change everything. He took a small team to the strongest signal location, deep in the mountains outside Seoul. They brought drilling equipment and scanners, hoping to find out what was causing the disturbance. The signal is coming from about 2 miles down, Mina said, looking at her instruments. But Dr. Park, these readings don't make sense. The structure down there is huge. It's bigger than the city. They drilled for 6 hours before their drill bit hit something hard. Not rock or metal, but something that felt different. When they pulled up the drill bit, it was perfectly clean. Whatever was down there had not left a single scratch on the metal. Let's try a different approach, Jiho said. He had brought a new scanner that could look deep underground using sound waves. When he turned it on, the results made him step backward in shock. The underground structure was not random. It had hallways, rooms, and chambers. It looked like a massive building complex, but it was clearly very old. The walls were smooth and the corridors were perfectly straight. No human technology could build something like this so deep underground. How old do you think this is? Mina asked. I don't know, Jiho replied, but it's been here much longer than human civilization. That night, something strange happened. Jiho was camping near the drilling site when he felt a tingling sensation in his hand. He looked down and saw a small device on his wrist. His identity, scanner that proved he was human, was glowing with a soft blue light. The ground beneath his feet started to warm up. Then, slowly, a section of rock began to move. It slid aside like a door, revealing a tunnel that led straight down into the earth. Lights along the walls turned on automatically, showing a path deeper into the mountain. Mina, Jiho called. You need to see this. When Mina arrived, her identity scanner started glowing too. The tunnel seemed to be responding to their human DNA, recognizing them as the right species to enter. Should we go down there? Mina asked nervously. Jiho took a deep breath. We have to. This might be the most important discovery in human history. They walked down the tunnel for what felt like hours. The walls were made of a material that looked like metal but felt warm to the touch. Strange symbols were carved into the surfaces, but they were not like any human writing Jiho had ever seen. Finally, they reached a large chamber. The room was filled with massive machines that hummed with quiet power. Screens covered the walls, showing star maps and data that Jiho could not understand. But in the center of the room was something that made his heart stop. It was a hologram of a human being. Not a modern human, but someone who looked like they came from Earth's distant past. The figure was tall and wore clothes that seemed both ancient and incredibly advanced. "Welcome," the hologram said in perfect Korean. "We have been waiting for this moment." "Who are you?" Jiho asked. "We are your ancestors," the figure replied. "Long ago, humanity ruled the stars. We built an empire that stretched across the galaxy, but we grew tired of war and conquest. We chose to forget our power and start over." The hologram gestured to the machines around them. "Before we slept, we built these installations. They were designed to wake up only when humanity returned to the stars and faced a threat that could destroy them." "The Devourers," Mina whispered. "Yes," the hologram confirmed. "We fought them before. We drove them away, but we knew they would return. Now your people travel among the stars again, and the ancient enemy has awakened. It is time for Earth's sleeping giants to rise." Around them, the machines began to work faster. Deep beneath the surface, humanity's forgotten legacy was coming back to life. Captain Hana Choi was aboard the small human ship Soul's Pride when everything changed. Her fleet of 30 ships was flying toward the battle zone where the Devourers had been spotted. The Alien Council had sent them ahead as scouts, expecting them to send warning signals before they died. Hana had been a ship captain for 15 years. She knew her vessel inside and out. Every button, every screen, every sound the engines made. But suddenly, her control panel was showing things she had never seen before. "Captain," her communications officer Dae Kim called out, "I'm getting strange signals from Earth. Something big is happening back home." Before Hana could respond, her ship started shaking. But this was different from engine problems. It felt like the ship itself was changing. New lights appeared on her control panel. Screens she had never seen before started glowing with information. "What's going on?" asked her weapons officer, Jun Lee. "I don't know," Hana replied. But even as she said it, something strange happened in her mind. She found herself understanding the new controls. Knowledge she had never learned was suddenly there, like memories from someone else's life. Back on Earth, the ocean near Japan began to bubble and steam. Ships passing through the area reported that the water was getting warmer. Then, something impossible happened. The ocean floor started to rise. Fisherman Tai Yamamoto was checking his nets when he saw it first. "A mountain is growing out of the water," he radioed to the Coast Guard. "No, wait, it's not a mountain, it's a ship." The vessel that emerged from the ocean was bigger than anything humans had ever built. It was 5 miles long and covered in armor that looked like it was made from starlight. Water poured off its sides as it rose higher and higher into the sky. Similar scenes happened around the world. In the Arctic Ocean, 3 massive ships broke through the ice. In the Pacific, a whole fleet of vessels emerged from underwater cities that had been hidden for thousands of years. The Mediterranean Sea split open to reveal shipyards that stretched for hundreds of miles. Dr. Jiho Park watched from his mountain laboratory as one of the largest ships lifted off from underground chambers beneath Seoul. The city shook as the enormous vessel rose through the earth without damaging a single building. Somehow it passed through solid rock like it was moving through water. "How is this possible?" Mina Song asked. The hologram of their ancestor appeared again. "Your people designed these ships using technology that bends space and time. They are not bound by the simple laws of physics that you understand now." Meanwhile, Captain Hana felt more changes happening to her mind. She looked at her ship's new weapons systems and somehow knew exactly how to use them. The knowledge felt old, like something she had known all her life but forgotten until now. "Captain," Dae Kim said, his voice filled with wonder. "I can understand. The alien radio signals. All of them. It's like someone put a translator directly in my brain." Jun-Li was staring at his weapons panel with wide eyes. These aren't our old laser cannons anymore. These weapons, I can see what they do. This one can destroy a planet. This one can make stars go out. Hana nodded. She could see it too. Her small scout ship was now more powerful than the largest alien battleship. But it wasn't just the weapons that had changed. She felt different inside, like her mind was working faster and seeing more clearly. "All human ships," came a voice over the radio. It was Admiral Quan Park, the commander of their small fleet. But his voice sounded different now, more confident and strong. "New orders. We are no longer scouts. We are now the main attack force." "Sir?" Hana replied. "We only have 30 ships. Check your scanners, Captain Choi." Hana looked at her screens and gasped. Where there had been 30 small human ships, there were now hundreds of massive vessels. The ships that had emerged from Earth were joining them in space. Each one was the size of a city and armed with weapons that could reshape reality itself. "How did they get here so fast?" Jun-Li asked. "They don't travel through space the normal way," Admiral Park explained. "They fold space around them. Distance means nothing to these ships." On the bridge of the largest vessel, Admiral Park felt the weight of ancient memories settling into his mind. He remembered battles fought among the stars thousands of years ago. He knew the names of weapons that could tear holes in space and armor that could survive the birth of stars. But most importantly, he remembered the Devourers. He knew their weaknesses, their tactics, and their fears. The knowledge had been sleeping in human DNA for millennia, waiting for this moment. "All ships," Admiral Park commanded, his voice carrying the authority of forgotten emperors. "Prepare for battle. It's time to remind the galaxy who we really are." The human fleet moved forward, no longer prey waiting to be consumed, but predators, returning to reclaim their ancient hunting grounds. The first Devourer ship appeared on Admiral Quan Park's screens like a nightmare made real. It was enormous, dark as empty space, and covered in what looked like moving shadows. The alien beast had already consumed 2 planets in this system, leaving nothing behind but empty space. "All Galactic Council ships stay back," Admiral Park commanded. "We will handle this." Commander Crix's voice came through the radio, full of disbelief. "Human Admiral, that is a Devourer mothership. It destroyed our entire Valix battle fleet. Your small force cannot watch us," Admiral Park said calmly. Captain Hana Choi felt the ancient knowledge flowing through her mind as she piloted her ship toward the enemy. She could see the Devourer's weak points as clearly as if someone had drawn a map for her. The creature's dark armor had patterns that looked random, but she knew they were actually weak spots left over from battles fought long ago. "Target the
spiral sections," she told her weapons officer Jun-Li. 3 shots, rapid fire." "But Captain," Jun-Li said, "those areas look the strongest."
"Trust me," Hana replied. "I know these things." The human ships moved forward in perfect formation. The watching alien fleets held their breath. Everyone expected to see the humans destroyed in seconds, just like every other force that had faced the Devourers. Instead, something impossible happened. Hana's ship fired 3 beams of pure energy. The weapons were so advanced that they seemed to bend space itself. When the beams hit the Devourer mothership, the creature screamed. The sound came through space itself, a horrible noise that made every alien watching cover their ears. The dark armor began to crack and fall away. Light poured out from inside the Devourer, and the massive creature started to shrink. "Impossible," whispered Commander Crix. But the humans were just getting started. Admiral Park's flagship opened fire with weapons that the galaxy had never seen before. Beams of light that could cut through anything. Missiles that created small black holes. Energy waves that turned the Devourer's own power against itself. Within minutes, the mothership was completely destroyed. The creature that had terrorized the galaxy for weeks was nothing but floating debris. "One down," Admiral Park said simply. More Devourers appeared from the darkness between stars. A whole fleet of them, each one the size of a moon. The alien, council fleets watching from a safe distance began to retreat even further. "There are too many," Speaker Zeth transmitted. Even your powerful ships cannot fight that many at once. But the humans didn't retreat. Instead, their ships began to change shape. The vessels stretched and reformed themselves, becoming sleek and deadly. Captain Hana watched in amazement as her own ship grew new weapons and armor. I remember now, she said to her crew. These ships were built to fight devourers. That's their only purpose. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships moved through space like dancers, avoiding every devourer attack while striking back with perfect accuracy. The ancient weapons tore through the enemy like paper. But the most shocking thing happened when the largest devourer appeared. This creature was different from the others. It was older, more intelligent, and filled with memories from the last time it had faced humanity. When it saw the human ships, the great beast stopped attacking. Instead, it began to retreat. Wait, Dr. Jiho Park said from his laboratory on Earth, watching the battle through the ship's cameras. Look at that big one, it's afraid. The enormous devourer was indeed backing away from the human fleet. As it moved, it made sounds that the humans somehow understood. It was calling to the other devourers, telling them to run. Impossible. The creature's voice echoed through space. They have returned. The Empire has awakened. One by one, the devourers began to flee. These monsters that had eaten entire civilizations were running away from humanity like frightened animals. What empire? Commander Crix demanded over the radio. What is that thing talking about? Ambassador Yuna Lee sat in the Galactic Council chamber, watching the battle on the main screen. Around her, alien representatives were asking the same question. Some were cheering that the devourers were fleeing. Others looked worried about what this meant. Ambassador Lee, Speaker Zeth said slowly, your people, they are not what we thought, are they? Yuna took a deep breath. The truth was coming out whether they wanted it or not. No, she said quietly. We are not. On the battlefield, Admiral Park opened a channel to all the alien fleets. The devourers know us because we fought them before. Long ago, humanity ruled this galaxy. We built the first great empire among the stars. When we grew tired of war, we chose to forget our power and start over. The alien fleets listened in stunned silence. But we left safeguards, Admiral Park continued. Systems that would wake up if the devourers ever returned. Today, those systems activated. Earth's sleeping giants have awakened. The last devourer ship disappeared into dark space, fleeing to whatever void it had come from. The battle was over, but the galaxy would never be the same again. The Galactic Council chamber was completely silent. Every alien representative stared at the main screen, watching the last devourer ship disappear into dark space. The monsters that had terrorized the galaxy for months were gone, defeated by the race they had all considered primitive and weak. Ambassador Yuna Lee stood in the center of the room. She could feel hundreds of alien eyes watching her. Some looked grateful. Others looked afraid. A few looked angry. So? Speaker Zeth said finally, his 6 eyes focused on Yuna. Humanity was never a young species. You were the masters of this galaxy before any of our civilizations even existed. Yes, Yuna replied simply. There was no point in lying anymore. Commander Crix stepped forward, his lizard-like face twisted with anger. You lied to us. You pretended to be weak while you had weapons that could destroy us all. We didn't lie, Yuna said calmly. We truly forgot. Our ancestors chose to give up their power and start over. We became exactly what you saw, a peaceful people who wanted nothing more than to explore the stars. But now you remember, said a floating jellyfish-like being. Now you have access to all that ancient technology again. Before Yuna could answer, Admiral Quan Park's voice came through the communication system. His fleet was still in space near the battle zone, their massive ships glowing with power. All alien fleets, this is Admiral Park, he said. We need to have a serious conversation. Within hours, representatives from every major species in the galaxy had gathered. They met on a neutral space station, but everyone knew the real power now belonged to humanity. The human ships floating nearby were each more powerful than entire alien battle fleets. Dr. Jaiho Park had also arrived from Earth. He carried data from the underground installations that were still awakening around the planet. The systems are offering us a choice, he told the gathering. We can reactivate everything. The entire galactic empire our ancestors built. Weapons that can destroy star systems. Ships that can control time itself. Technology that would make us gods. And will you? Asked Speaker Zeth quietly. Captain Hana Choi spoke up from where she sat with the other human military officers. Some of us want to. After the way you treated us, after calling us weak and primitive, it would be easy to make you pay for that. Several alien representatives shifted nervously in their seats. They had spent weeks talking about relocating humanity to a safe planet. Now they realized they had been discussing imprisoning their former masters. But, Hana continued, Admiral Park has made a different choice. Admiral Park stood up. In his mind, he carried the memories of the ancient human empire. He remembered ruling over 1,000 worlds. He remembered the fear in alien eyes when human ships appeared. He also remembered why their ancestors had given it all up. Power corrupts, he said simply. Our ancestors learned that lesson. They became so strong that they forgot how to be kind. They ruled through fear instead of wisdom. Eventually they realized they had become monsters themselves. So, what do you choose now? Commander Crix asked. Admiral Park looked around the room at all the alien faces. We choose to protect instead of rule. We will keep most of our ancient weapons shut down. The installations on Earth will go back to sleep, but they will wake up. Again, if anyone threatens innocent people. You're giving up all that power, Speaker Zeth asked in disbelief. Not giving it up, Yuna corrected. Putting it aside, there's a difference. Dr. Jiho activated a hologram projector. It showed Earth and the vast network of hidden installations around the planet. The defense systems will remain active, but dormant. They'll watch for threats like the Devourers, but they won't be used for conquest or revenge. What about our treatment of your people? Asked the tree-like being who had called humans too weak just weeks before. Admiral Park smiled slightly. That's in the past. You judged us based on what you could see. You weren't wrong. We were peaceful and not very advanced compared to you. But now you know the truth. The question is what we all do next. Over the following days, a new agreement was reached. Humanity would take a role as galactic protectors, using their advanced technology to defend against threats from outside the galaxy. In return, the other species would treat humans as equals and help them rebuild the peaceful civilization they had chosen to create. Captain Hana returned to her ship, which had been transformed by ancient technology into something far beyond what any current civilization could build. But instead of conquest, she would use it to patrol the galaxy's borders, watching for dangers that might threaten all the innocent people living among the stars. Ambassador Yuna established a new embassy on the council station, but this time, her seat was not in the back corner. It was at the front, representing a species that had chosen mercy over revenge. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous beings are those who choose not to use their power. And sometimes the greatest strength comes from knowing when to stay your hand. Humanity's sleeping giants had awakened, looked at the galaxy they once ruled, and chosen to be its guardians instead of its masters.